Alright, time to make One Piece stuff. I'll start off with the grab move I've wanted to make for a while, string manipulation. To start off, I drew a spinning string particle effect along with very thin string strands. For the startup effects, I also used some of my previously made particle effects. It's supposed to be string slashes, it just happens to not look like it, I guess. So after that, I created the animations, which didn't really take a while, since the first part of the animation is just a simple swipe. Next is where we'll be using the spinning string effects, which is the damage part of the skill where you basically entrap the enemy with your strings. And I also made some slash effects for the end of the skill. I then tried to add some camera effects by using color corrections and highlights, only to notice that 1 hour had already passed. What's supposed to be a string grab turned out far from what I wanted it to look like, but I guess it's cool in its own way, although I still did a few modifications. For the next skill, I'll need an oversized cannonball attached to some chains. And of course, I added some particle effects that consists of aura surrounding the ball. I then added a body velocity to make the ball move, although it's pretty janky. But I mean, it's good enough, I suppose. It took me a bit to make the ball fall into the correct place, but it ended up just fine, although it did take a little longer than I expected.
Drive.
Next, I went on with one of the newer skills, Sanji's Ifrit jambe. I started with the flames, which consist of swirling and small bits of flames. I then welded it onto a foot and then started animating. I started the animation with the simple kick. Then after that, inserted another dummy from my basement so I could animate 2 dummies now. Anyway, after a bunch of kicking, I finished the animations. The first result had an underwhelming final hit though, so I decided to change bits of the animation, and I also added a trail effect to highlight the kicks better. It took me a bit long to animate that skill, so I'll start with the aura of the next skill, which will be Crocodile Sand Tornado. For that, I'll need some spinning circles, modified its color, and make it look like sand, and add some more sand particles afterwards. Next up, I made some other set of sand aura that I'll attach to the character's hands while casting the skill. After that, I just reused an animation I made a whole while ago because I am lazy. And I also made the skill knock players up. After that, I drew whatever this is, imported it into Roblox, jumbled it into a bunch of other particle effects because I am mentally depraved, and created whatever this is. Now it should be a conqueror's haki effect, but I'm not sure what it is, since it didn't really go as what I wanted it to go like. But either way, I was too lazy to remake it.
By God's light, I smite you!
Anyway, I animated it, made the animation you having a mental breakdown because of a donut or something, and so I finished the skill. Anyone within range will be affected by 4 seconds of stun, and yeah, it doesn't really look much like Conqueror's haki, so I just added a lightning effect for good measure. As usual, I started off with the particles in this one, which starts off with a line, some gusts of wind, and some smoky after effects. After that, I did the animations and we hit the next hour. I finished the animations and all that's left is to script it. It's a simple jet pistol, I guess. So next up is another skill from the monster trio, which I'll start off by grabbing a katana mesh, tripling it, and welding it into a dummy. Then as usual, I animated it. But this time, it took me a considerable amount of time since I attempted to make it as dynamic as possible. And spoilers, I failed. It doesn't really look that good. After the animations, I did some aura effects, which was just a bunch of pressure lines, some sparks I guess, and a glowing red eye. After that, I made another set of effects, this time containing all the flashy and slashy stuff. After that, the last set of particles, which contains all the blood bursting stuff. Next up is a gravity move, so I started with the purple circles. Then next up, I inserted some raggy meteor mesh and began scripting it, and it looks really goofy.
We're almost there, Freeman. Get yourself in position.
At this point, I was starting to lose motivation, so I just added an explosion effect. Yeah, that's it. Anyway, I also made some really scuffed M1 combat, which I was pretty proud of, even though the hitbox is really weird. Then I also added some trails, particles, and sound effects. So yeah, I got lazy to last another hour, so that's it. Bye.